I would like to respect this. I'm going to make a comment of I
All right, everyone, it's 7 o'clock. Melissa, could you get the, or someone, Debbie, someone of you two get the sign-in sheet? Thank you. Oh. Can give everyone one more minute to sign up if you'd like to sign up. Thank you very much. All right, we're going to call to order today's special meeting for the town of Harpers Ferry for the public hearing to discuss the water rate increase. It is 7 o'clock. Thank you everyone for coming today. For those I have not met, I'm Nina Armstrong. I'm the town recorder here in Harpers Ferry. And today I'll be acting as the mayor in the mayor's absence, and I'll be conducting today's meeting. Before we all get started, could I ask everyone to silence their cell phones? As we want to give everyone an opportunity to speak without being disturbed. I'm going to explain the process briefly before we get started. Our town policy regarding public hearings was established in 2021, and we'll be following that policy today. We'll be going off the list of people that are listed here as speakers. Everyone will have up to 5 minutes to speak. No comments are allowed from either the public or from us during that time. If you have any clarifications that you would like from council, you can ask those questions, and I would be more than happy to make any clarifications. Anything that requires a more in-depth answer, we do have a slot here on our sign-up sheet. We request that you can add your email address here if you have a specific question for a member of council or for our water commission where you would like some more information. You can fill out your email here, and we'll be sure to get back to you with any more clarifying information that you would like. At the beginning, before your 5 minutes start, I'll just be asking everyone's name and either if you're a resident or if you're affiliated with a group, what group that is, and that will be part of our record. You'll have up to 5 minutes to present. Once that time you're allowed to use as much of that 5 minutes as you would like. You're not required to use all of the 5 minutes. However, once that 5 minutes has started, the timer will continue until that time is up. We will be operating on a 2-strike rule today, so please be kind and courteous to everyone. If there are any comments that could be considered to be threatening, aggressive, or disparaging, I'll be raising my hand and just saying strike one. And if we have to do a strike two, then you'll be asked to sit down and you'll be forfeiting the remainder of your time. I also at the 30-minute limit, 30-second limit. So at 4 minutes and 30 seconds, I'll be raising my hand and saying 30 seconds. So I apologize in advance for the interruption. We have a 2-hour time limit, so we will be finishing today's meeting by 9 o'clock at the latest, or when our last speaker has an opportunity to speak. So appreciate all your concerns and making this meeting as streamlined as possible. And thank you for this opportunity for us to be able to listen to what you have to say, and appreciate all of you coming here so your voices can be heard. And so with that, I guess we can get started. Is it Marie Leinhards?
Yeah.
You can go ahead and speak first if you'd like.
My question,
Oh, if you could come up to the podium so that we've got a few.
you can't hear me? Fabulous.
Yeah.
It says, flat rates are charged when no meter is available. Can you give me an example of where that is? Who doesn't have a meter?
So that would be a question that our water department would be able to answer. I can make sure that they're able to answer that question for you, but I guess.
Yeah, I know one example would be, and just put it on straight back because the meter has raised our heated basis application. That would basically be that time.
Okay. The other question I have is, at the water meeting, I don't know if you know which meeting I'm talking about. They talked about possibly getting more funding to help finance this journey.
So
Any word on that?
there have been efforts for funding. However, that is outside of the water rate increase. Those are unrelated. So we are working on funding efforts for that.
And how do we get updates on that?
At every town council meeting in Harpers Ferry, we provide updates anytime there's any sort of funding changes or increases and things like that. So definitely worth checking the agendas for.
I did check the agenda for, what was that, Monday or last night?
Yeah, we did not have any update on
Yeah,
that
I
during
didn't
that
see
meeting.
anything.
Yeah, but in the coming months, we might have something and it'd be worth attending those meetings in the future.
Okay.
Thank you for your time. And if you have any additional questions, you can always include your email and we can make sure that you get included if you have any questions.
Thanks.
And George Owens?
Hi, folks.
Please come to the mic first.
Speaking to the residents. If I can swivel this around and hope this works. I'm speaking because, as Ms. Armstrong here said, we have a format, a policy that doesn't allow question and answers. And it's a shame. It's been passed duly though, and until our council is able to change that policy, I'm really unhappy with the way this meeting is going to go. And here's why. About 6 weeks ago, month ago, when we first learned about the need for a rate increase, I wasn't sold on it. And I didn't get sold on it until I asked a load of questions and got a load of answers. The Q&A really, really helped. Now I understand it's inevitable. And if we don't get it, we are 6 ways to Sunday hurting. But we can't satisfy your curiosities here this evening. When I ran for council about 9 months ago, I promised the people I talked to knocking on their doors that we wouldn't have one of these councils where people got up here and spoke and everybody on the council looked around and just didn't say a thing. No back and forth. Unfortunately, we still have that. I wasn't aware that it was on the books. So that's one point I wanted to make. The other is that if you do manage to get information, one of the pieces of information you're going to get is that no matter how much money this town general fund has, it can't go to solve this problem. And that's just the law of the state. The water department, such are separate. Now, I'm not going to get into that specifically. But one of the things that I wanted to see was if we got to pay 30% more, and I'm one of those people who's going to pay it. I think we ought to have the out-of-towners, good folks who come here as tourists and park up and down Washington Street, see an inflation-driven increase in their rate. And I put that forward to the appropriate committees. And I hope if folks are interested in seeing that kind of fair play, they can let their representatives know. So that was my comments here. Thanks a lot.
Sorry, we've got to try and avoid having too much back and forth.
See, there's the problem.
You just said that if we ask a question, they can't answer.
Well, that's,
So per the policy for public hearing, if we can do clarifications, but we cannot do in-depth questions per the policy for public hearing.
and that is, I have a problem with that, but a resolution of 2021 passed that. And so until the council can meet to revoke that, sir, with my apology and our council's apologies, that's true. That's my point here, standing up. I actually wasn't allowed to speak unless I signed it. So thank you, folks.
All right, Maureen Nar?
You are, but it's okay. No one gets it right. I do have a couple of clarifying questions. One, in the ordinance, it doesn't mention a commercial increase, it only mentions the residential increase. And in all previous ones, it's been both. So I'm just wondering if we also have a commercial increase in the water rates, we're only taxing the residents.
I believe it's for everyone. Yeah, it's universal, 30%.
Because it's not differentiated like it had been in the previous ones.
I will make a note of that and look into that further. for you.
So the other thing, like looking back at it, over the last 10 years, we've increased our rate over 200%. We've over doubled our water rate in 10 years, which is a huge increase. I mean, we're 150% of what Charlestown pays. We're about 140% of what Shepherdstown pay. Where's the end of it, right? And I get that part of it is there really is no option, right? At this point in time, if we don't replace the pipes, then you got problems, right? And I know that part of it was that we had that hostile takeover that prevented us from redoing the water plant for what, 6-7 years? Is there any way, I mean, I'm assuming we've looked at it, but is there any way to go after them for the damage that they caused because of that?
Unfortunately, no.
That's kind of what I figured. But I guess the other point, I mean, really, in many ways, we know that the rate's going to increase no matter what we say here tonight. Like, obviously, everyone's upset over it. Nobody wants it to happen. And we all know that it doesn't make a difference what we say here tonight. The water rate's going to increase whether we like it or not. So the hearing is sort of a pro forma hearing, really. But I guess the question I want on record is like, where does it stop? We've been increasing every basically 2 years at a pretty hefty rate that puts it at one of the higher water rates of the nation, and especially in West Virginia. Where does it stop? Where do we start to actually see a fiscal responsibility that doesn't just say, oh, we need more money here, we're just going to tax you heavier?
Thank you very much. If you could include your email on here, make sure that you get some information. And next we have Bill Dixon. Well, I think, yeah, that's useful, but I'm gonna provide more context.
Hi, friends and neighbors. How's everyone doing? Bill Dixon. I live up on Prospect Ave across from the water towers. And I guess I just need some clarification from the last increase hike, whenever that was, 2 or 3 years ago. How many feet, yards, miles of water line have you all repaired that we knew that was leaking? I guess my number's a little off. Can I get clarification on that number?
Can I clarify that point?
Yeah, if you're aware of the number.
The feet, yards of pipe replaced, believe it or not, have nothing to do with this increase.
Okay.
it is solely for an increase in expenses since the last rate increase, which was 2018.
But we,
have this misconception.
so you get an increase, but you still get leaky pipes?
It doesn't have to do with any of the funding
Okay.
or any of the pipe replacement.
Okay, thank you for clarifying. I appreciate that. I just want to make sure at the same time y'all understand that in order to win this game, right, we need to fix some pipes or whatever the main issues are. So it's like a football team, right? You gotta, every yard, the team gets closer to the end zone and scores a point, right? So we need to work on fixing that infrastructure so that we don't have these oh crap moments. So just wanted to pass that on. Thanks.
Roberta did have a comment. She did want to clarify something for you.
Yeah, thank you for attending this evening, and I attended the Waterworks meeting and Waterworks presentation, given in Baldwin. And when we initially were seeking this funding, we said we would repair about 4,700 linear feet of piping, plus or minus some numbers. But I think at that presentation, the number is now up to 8,700 linear feet, plus or minus some numbers. And again,
Clarification, I think we're talking about two separate things, which I don't have all the details on myself, but the water rate increase is to keep, just for clarification, is to keep the water department functional as a business. And the other grant / loan we're looking for is to replace most
Okay.
of the leaking, if not all of the leaking system, which will take place over a course of several years.
Gotcha.
So this is essentially fixes the immediate issues of the water plant, but then we have to keep working at it.
Okay,
Yes.
I understand now.
Cover.
Got it.
linear feet, yeah.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, and then I had one comment that was provided via email that was requested that I read. This one is from resident Stephanie Bolin. She says, "We vehemently oppose a 30% increase on the heels of a recent increase. Since the state is requiring this huge reserve by our small town, we should qualify for utility grant. The state has boasted that there are huge reserves. If we need to hire a part-time or temporary grant writer, it seems it would offset an increase. Something is not working with the budget for us to be in this position, and perhaps an audit of utilities is required. Our state has the highest utilities in the country and never imagined we would be in this statistic. We are higher than California rates. We know they restrict usage there and sometimes has water shortages. The proposed rate chart is being given out as unrealistic, showing a 2,000 gallon minimum usage. These must be vacant homes. At $38.50 is not, and $38.50 is not a true snapshot of a water bill when a higher sewer rate will be tacked on. And this will affect elderly residents in our neighborhood who cannot get involved in this process and will be negatively impacted. Thank you."
I'm sorry, who was it?
Stephanie Bolin. Oh, okay. Yeah,
President of Volleyball?
Harper's Ferry. All right, and that was everyone that we've had sign up for today. So I am going to call today's meeting to adjourn. It is 7. Yeah. Oh, if you come up and speak at the mic, that would be great. And could I get your name, and are you a resident?
Yes.
Dan
Dan.
Boylan,
Okay,
Stephanie's husband.
okay.
Um, Yeah, I just wanted to know if anybody had statistics on the amount of residents that vote in the Harpers Ferry elections that are on the water system.
I believe it would be
As
everyone
opposed to the people that don't vote.
in the Harpers Ferry election. That would, I would,
142 people attempted to vote in the last election.
No, I'm talking about the people that are registered that can vote and the people that aren't,
that are using the water utility but are not able to vote.
exactly.
I'm not sure that statistic, but I can get that information for you and provide that to you. I have Stephanie.
Yeah, my
email, so-
understanding is that it's really unbalanced.
Hmm.
That there are a lot more people that aren't able to vote in the election that are using the water.
You mean residents of other towns
Correct,
who
yeah.
use our water?
exactly.
Yeah.
My rough.
I being
estimate
one
is
of them.
3-1 for the other. or
That are unable to vote.
2-1 or 3-1. Yes.
All right.
I can get you more accurate statistics on that if you'd like.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. Go ahead.
Since it's only been a few minutes, do we want to keep it open for, yeah,
Is there anyone, I guess we can, yeah, is there anyone else that would like to speak? We have a few minutes.
quite a few?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I can read, the email I received from her, from Lisa Kovacs. She's a resident of Bolivar. She said, I am unable to attend this evening's meeting, but wanted to say that as a Bolivar resident, I support the water rate increase. Clean water is life, and I strongly believe this needs to remain a public utility. I am excited that the Hilltop Hotel will soon be returning as a significant ratepayer. As a minimum rate paying customer myself, I would welcome being rewarded for conserving water. Please enter my comments for the record.
Can I add that?
Oh, it's, sure, go.
No, I mean,
Oh.
Only insofar as she mentions the minimum rate increase. So at 40% of the people who are using water are at the minimum rate. And it's true, like, can we be rewarded for actually not doing it? Not using a ton of water. So our minimum rate right now is 2,000 gallons a month. So I had somebody move in with me and I doubled the capacity of my house. I'm still less than half of that a month, right? So I mean, 40% of the people are paying they're paying over what they're actually using, which does seem to penalize us and just have us subsidize the businesses that are actually using more water, because then we give discounts the higher rates that they go, which seems a little unjust. So just kind of tacking on to her comment of the minimum rate getting a little bit of maybe we lower it to 1,000, I don't know. But
Thank you very much for your comment. All right,
Excuse me, can I ask you?
yeah, go ahead, come on up.
I understand that, with the rate increase, that I heard that, well, with what is the advantage to the residents with the rate increase as opposed to not increasing it?
I can answer that.
Well, we don't have much of a choice in order to maintain our utility as being a privately owned utility. The rate increases to keep up with cost of living adjustments that have not been happening over the last several years. So in order to maintain and be able to continue running as a privately owned utility, we would need to make this rate increase.
Point of
Can I
clarification.
respond to that
Is it-
clarification?
Yeah.
Point of clarification, specifically what she's meaning is this. We took out a $6.2 million loan years ago for replacement of pipes and water plant. And unfortunately, because of the delay you referenced in the legal issues, it only stretched for the plant plus a little. One of the conditions of that loan enforced by I believe, federal government, yes, is that the water department here, our waterworks, operates out of the red. We have to, as a condition of compliance, operate in the black. We've been in the red. We've been in the red for a while, and they understand, and so they've given us a little bit of road. But here's the deal. We're out of compliance on a loan right now. And this, what she's specifically to her comment, is if we don't get this increase, they can call it in. And we'll cease to exist. And this is an existential moment. Without this increase, I saw the costs, the rates, went up in 2018 a great deal. And then our revenue stayed flat. And I saw a chart where the costs of operation shot up between 30 and 40% in the last 5 years. And we're in the red. We are not allowed to do that. I mean, by the terms of our loan. So there's the crunch we're in. This has nothing to do with pipes in the ground. I mean, it does, but it's just this is operating. And it has to do with all the inflationary issues that have plagued when you go to the Home Depot, and I go there, and the price of lumber, the price of everything, well, it's hit us. And we are bound by the terms of what we signed to be in the black. And that's what this is about. And
isn't that increase not just because of the cost of living increase, but also because of the legislation that's been passed?
what?
Isn't it also because of the change in the law that we have to have the extra reserves of water? Is that not also part of the reason that it's increased in the last, 5 years? I think it's more than just our cost of living, it causes dramatic increase.
Deb would be the right person to clarify that.
Yeah, and yes, there has been a change that we will now have to carry an extra reserve amount, which increased our cost of operating. Right, right, and we have no choice. Yeah, it can go on our life. Yeah, I mean, but I just want to clarify, it's not just the cost of living. There's cost of living, there's the cost of living combined with this law that passed that we have no longer, right, that it's there. You know, it's unfortunate they don't converge and down.
So, Mr. Morris, did you have anything to add to that?
Point of clarification, I guess.
Yeah.
Is it a publicly owned utility?
Yeah.
Yeah, not
Yeah,
private.
sorry,
Yeah.
publicly owned utility.
Oh,
It's owned by the
Yeah.
corporation. So it just said private. I don't want to make it.
Yeah, I meant public, yeah.
So, in other words, without the increase, it would go to a private
Yes.
entity.
We would become
Likely.
in default, and
And-
someone would come in and grab up the pieces.
Thank you.
Since a lot of that money from the previous loan, I'm not quite sure I'm using the right term, was used for defending Jefferson Utilities not buying the public waterworks. What's to stop them from doing that again?
So it wasn't in defense. It's that over the time period that we were not allowed to do the construction and the work that we were hoping to do, the cost of the project dramatically increased. So how the loan would have stretched before, it would have covered the whole project that we were proposing. By the time we had finished defending ourselves against Jefferson Utility, the project cost had doubled. So it no longer stretched as far as we were hoping for it to stretch.
Didn't you just get a new loan though?
Yeah, so we did get a new loan, and that was part of a grant that is to go towards putting in new meters and,
No,
sorry,
no,
oh, different. I guess, yeah.
The one that you're talking about.
Okay,
Then replace the water. And that original amount, that loan was also to replace the distribution. Since it took so long, the cost doubled, they had to make choice to go through the water later. So the distribution is going to remain unfunded. Now we are actively involved in a grant opportunity to replace some of that distribution. And we are seeking other grant opportunities to replace the rest of it.
okay, thanks.
All right, does anyone have any other questions or comments? Okay.
You know,
But- So if we replace the pipes, which, I mean, they're leaking, right? So it's almost 50% of the water that's being treated is leaking out of the pipes. Does that then decrease our usage that would increase our revenue?
I think that's hard to say.
I mean, if we aren't using 50% of the water that's being treated because it's now no longer leaking, you would think that we'd have a lower usage and therefore a lower cost overall. I don't know if it's true, though.
Theory.
Yeah.
And we hope it's true. And we hope that's not true. But
But we don't really know.
You gotta do what you got going on.
Well, I mean, that makes sense, but I'm just kind of thinking in the future, like because if it's true that once we replace the pipes with this grant and we save ourselves, I don't know, a third of the operating cost because we're no longer treating as much water, you would think that that would prevent then us having another water increase in another 2 years. I mean, over 10 years, we've increased our water rate, what, 5 times, 6 times? Like it's
No.
2015, 2016, 2018, 2019. There was another one in there because there was a couple incremental ones. So I went back into the records and I looked it up. They had one in 2015 and then a couple months later. So there was 2 that were incremental ones. So it was like, here's a gradual, here's a gradual, here's a gradual, here's a gradual. We've had 5 increases since 2012. So 2014 was the first of the increases that I counted that were in the records. And we had 5 of them, including the one that we have right now. Which means that in 10 years, that's 5 increases. So I mean, that's just in the records. I'm just like trying to prevent this from happening again. Like, I mean, obviously it's gonna happen, right? We know that whatever we say here tonight, we're getting the increase. But we'd like to not have it happen again for a couple of years.
The hope is that everything that we're doing here and with the grants and with the proposed new work is that it will create a stable water reserve and a system so that we can
actually timely take care of
correct.
leaks so that they don't burgeon to such an extent that
Yeah.
multiply our costs.
Yeah, and we can have a much healthier plant and system in place.
I mean, we certainly hope
for
so.
the future.
Yeah.
All right, if there are no other questions or comments, we can call this meeting to a close. All right, I guess I move to close this meeting, I move to adjourn. I have a second.
Second.
All right, all those in favor? All right, 7:30. Thank you everyone for attending. We have another meeting on Friday. It'll be at Harpers Ferry Town Hall from 1:30. And that will include our second reading of the ordinance as well. So thank you and the beginning will be public hearing as well. So if anyone has any comments they'd like to make then, please feel free to attend then. And thank you.